Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of GSC Talk. My name is Sylvie Webb and joining me today is the Robin Hood of modern era. Yes, you heard me right. He who builds the bridges between ones who need help and ones who can provide that help. Through his business, Startup Qatar. He's also the host of Qatar's first ever sports podcast, In the Game, partner at Suti and Group and the CEO of Solutions Pro. It's my pleasure to welcome Steve Mackie to our show.
Oh,
Hi,
thank you so much. And the introduction was just amazing. I feel so humbled.
you deserve that, don't you?
Oh, dear me. It makes me feel very proud what we've all achieved. We've got a great team behind us yeah, it's kind of hearing it all come back and see what we've achieved. It sounds pretty good.
How humble of you to credit your team as well. Very humble of you.
Listen, I always say that they're the smart ones. I'm the one that just kind of that talks for a living.
Yeah. I'm very intrigued to know how did this journey of you as a sports entrepreneur started?
So it was a little bit of accident, really. 13 years ago, we came to Qatar. We were going to set up a security business, and unfortunately, that was never going to be possible. But we were always got told that there was always it was going to be happening the next day. So what we did was we set up a website called businessstartupqatar.com because we just felt we understood how to deal with people's expectations. There was already people doing the service, so we just put the two together and we set up Business Startup Qatar, and we haven't looked back since. We look after do company formation for all 4 jurisdictions here in Qatar: the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which is a great one to be in, also the Qatar Financial Center, the Free Zone, and the Science and Technology Park. So that's a bit of what we do.
So you've been in the startup ecosystem for a while now. I've read that. Oh, please go ahead.
No, you carry on. You carry on. I'm sorry.
No, I've read that you've started, like you've assisted or helped in starting 50 companies, like more than 50 startups in Qatar.
It's more now. The companies that we're, just to give you an indication, we're dealing with about 15 companies at the moment that we're helping start from all over the world. So that 50 hasn't been updated, but it's quite a few people, both here. There's thousands of them, both here and in the UK and over.
Okay. But being a part of this ecosystem, I'm very sure that you would have faced a lot of challenges as well. And you would have learned a lot of things at the same time.
I think the challenges is like everywhere else around the world. It's kind of you're dealing with what you've got to get to terms with is you've got to get to deal with the culture. If you're in a place within the Middle East, especially in Qatar, credibility is another one that you've really got to get that really you've got to build on that from day one, and trust. And all those areas that you've got to, those are even before you start thinking about the ecosystem. Those are things that are fundamental in places like this.
Yeah. But when it comes to investing in a particular company or in a particular startup, how do you assess whether you want to invest in A or you want to invest in B? What are the core values that you look for?
I think that it's like and I'm not going to say anything new that anybody else isn't saying. I think it's whether they've got the desire. I'm always trying to look at how we can build that individual, how we can make sure that they can walk through walls, that there's no problems that they're going to face that's going to throw them off. So biggest thing for us is building that individual in the first place. So making sure that individual is strong enough, or the team is strong enough. That goes on to the second one, which I've just mentioned there. Is the team got what it takes? What do we have to do to kind of to give them more support? You normally find when you've got loads of people within the tech industry, you've got developers within that startup. There's sometimes they're lacking marketing and sales. So it's trying to identify where that you can improve those. It's their knowledge. It's whether they're doing all their homework. Is there a consumer out there for their product? Is it something that somebody's going to purchase? Have they got what it takes? Have they got the knowledge and know-how? These are all the things that we look at the very beginning, so that we can guide them in the right way. Then obviously you're looking at all the other things. It's market research, market research, market research is one of my sayings, only because I like to see in a startup that they've done their market research, that they know what it's like out there. They spoke to people within the industry. They spoke to experts. They spoke to the potential consumer. So again, market research. Something that I used to run away from in the early years, which we face head on now, is do they understand all the implications of starting a business? Do you understand the financial requirements? So we try to go through that with them in the very early stages, so that they know what their obligations are. They know what the fees are the fees, or what money they're going to have to survive with, so that they can go to get, when they do their pitch, they can ask for the requirements from a financial perspective. These are the fundamentals that everybody does. But I suppose I've got a wonderful partner called Felix, that looks at things from a financial corporate structure side of things, feasibility studies, market research. I'm the one that likes to build that team. I'm the one that likes to kind of build that strength in those individuals.
Okay. So once you've assessed all these qualities, once you know, okay, this particular company ticks all the boxes, what is the procedure ahead? How do you find a perfect, customer, or a perfect person who can help them?
There's many. We're lucky. We're in Qatar. There's many people out there. There's many investors. There's many institutions that we can tap into. Once we feel that we've got several at the moment that we're really confident about raising money for them, and helping them raise money through individuals, or whether it's the institutions, we just make sure that their pitch deck is 80% there. Before they even try to go and pitch it, but we make sure that they've got that pitch right, that that they've got that kind of the belief that they know that pitch like the back of their hand, that they're leading, funneling that pitch into questions afterwards, so that they can get the investors. But mostly it's getting them ready, then obviously putting them in front of people that we know that they've got an appetite to invest, and make sure that they're ready to go and do the best possible job that they can.
Okay, perfect. And listening to Qatar, I can't help but think that now World Cup is coming to Qatar. How is that looking up?
It's so exciting. It really is so exciting. We've got the sports podcast. We've got lots of plans for that, running up to the World Cup. I've been privileged to be the fan leader for the England team, with the Supreme Committee. So that's very exciting for us. I've got over 300 Indian nationals that are England avid supporters. So we've already started with a fantastic group of people. And oh dear me, it's exciting. It really is exciting. And I just never realized how much support India's giving.
Do you think England will take it home this time around?
I really am looking. One thing I'm looking forward to is that the World Cup is coming to this part of the world. You've got some amazing people in these kind of countries. There's such a diversification when it comes to different cultures, different nationalities, and when they're all coming together, and when you've got the sunshine, let's hope that I gotta believe that come November, December, the weather is going to be absolutely perfect. The sun is going to be shining all day, every day. And we're going to have some amazing football. We've got stadiums that are all so close together, which is going to be really good for people to get around to watching as many matches as they possibly can. But what an event that it's going to be here. What an event.
Perfect. The weather is set, the people are set, the fans are ready. We're just waiting for the FIFA World Cup to start. Now, talking about the World Cup and talking about football, how can we not talk about technology now that it's such an integral part of the sport? What do you think about the technologies that are going to help in around this World Cup?
I think that there's one that jumps out to me. I've known him for ever since I've done the podcast. He was one of the first to come onto the podcast. His name was Mohammed. His company is called Sponic Tech. They've put immersive replay. They're already from a young startup that I saw maybe 4 years ago. I keep on trying to blank out the COVID period. So when I first done the podcast with him, going back about 2-3 years ago, this guy had wonderful belief, and now he's working with the likes of the Premiership, European, all the sports in Europe, the European Championships, La Liga. He is phenomenal, and even when it was the Liverpool and Manchester United game, they were showing what it was like when the ball came across to the player. What was his view to the goal? What did he have to do to go and do that last few touches to score the goal? Unbelievable. They've got their virtual advertisement that goes with it too. They really are taking it leaps and bounds. So I know they're going to be, I'm positive that they're going to be playing a part with the technology in the World Cup. But there's other companies that are here that are doing exactly that, that's been given the opportunity. And FIFA and the Supreme Committee has been fantastic in making sure that these guys can come in and play a role.
Technology is stunning us every day, isn't it?
It never. Look, I'm 56 years old. Well, very soon to be 56 years old, but I'm 56 years old, and I've seen the transformation in technology. I am sounding old now. We didn't have emails back then. It was all to do with the postal service. We used to do promotions. So we had to take pictures, go and get them developed. Then we had to take them, put them in an envelope. Then it was 3 days before it got into London. Oh, my word. And then all of a sudden, the emails came in, and then technology and websites. And now look at where we are. We play a massive role within the Qatar sports tech here. We've interviewed virtually every one of the cohorts since it's been begun in Qatar Sports Tech, which is a fantastic organization here. Yeah, it's amazing the way that the way technology is, and it's just I'm baffled. I just don't know where all of this is going, but it's for the better of everyone.
Sure, technology never fails to amaze us, and that leads to my next question, which is, what do you think about technology in sports in the coming 10 years? Because you've seen it evolve.
I think that one of the biggest movers on the market, and I know it's out there already, but we haven't embraced it, which is AR, augmented reality. I think that is going to be absolutely huge in the future. I was reading a report from PricewaterhouseCoopers that it's going to be an over $1 trillion industry within the next 5 to 8 years. Within all sectors. But I think for sports, it's going to be just absolutely amazing. And it's just going to become more and more realistic. All the other stuff, I can't even possibly think what the new changes are going to be. I see young stars, and I say stars, I really mean it. I did a code camp with the Digital Incubation Center going back 2 weeks ago. And we had 3 security guards from Uganda, and their days off, they had a day off where they wanted to come and code, and boy, were they brilliant at coding. These 3 guys just walked in and blew us away at the extent of what they were teaching themselves and learning over the internet. It's incredible, unbelievable. Lives are going to change.
Lives are going to change. You've made it sure. And because you've seen it evolve over the years, do you think it will help the sport in overall?
Look, I've always said that I've always said to a certain degree, esports, for example, I've said that esports is in the beginning. I didn't believe in it. I had kids that used to say, Dad, this kind of these gaming zones, they're going to be the future. And I used to say, listen, get a proper job, okay? Stop looking at these games. It's kind of ridiculous. And now look at the age that we're in, where people are getting absolute millions to be able to play these games and win competitions. Where does sports? I thought that esports particularly was going to be a real disruptor for the sports industry. But I was so wrong. I think it's just going to improve. They're going to go hand in glove, and they're going to give a better experience for everybody concerned.
Very rightly said. Esports is the future right now, and how humble of you to accept that you were wrong back then.
100% I was wrong. I've got to interview some really bright startups. I've introduced some really bright team that they're building players for esports. They're coaching them, they're seeing them through the mental side of the industry, the way that you can get them match fit. And I've really come to accept that some of these esports players, because I thought, you're playing on the sofa, watching TV. I see that some of these esport players are as fit as the professionals, and I found it incredible. But I'm seeing the world change on a regular basis. I always keep an open mind now. It's changing beyond that I've got, and just to see these individuals coming with an idea. But it's not just they're coming with an idea; they've got a plan, and they've got a goal on how to build this and what their thoughts and what their ambitions are. It's just incredible. It's brilliant to see.
Yep. The world is keeping changing, and the technology and sports never fails to amaze us. The future looks bright, and thank you so much, Steve, for joining us today, for giving us your time and for sharing such insightful knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's brilliant to be here, and thank you very much for hosting me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much indeed.